Drivers and teams at the ready, chasing the first checkered flag of this Daytona Speedway.
They just want to race and win. Smoke versus Wild Things.
It's always been wild. FS1's coverage of the Busch Clash at Daytona International Speedway. To kick off the NASCAR portion of Speed Weeks, here they roll off the starting grid. Let's check in at the Race Hub studio with Larry McReynolds and company.
Well, Mike, I'm a little outnumbered here. One crew chief, two drivers, and what I'm telling both my drivers, I know it's a short race. We can't win it in the first 30 or 40 laps, but as we saw last year, you can flat lose it. What I need you to do, work your feet, work your hands, and not your mouth.
Regan, I don't know about you, but as long as our man doesn't give us some experimental setup that doesn't work in the race today, I'm going to give you all I got.
I haven't had to listen to the crew chief all year long telling me, get me just a little bit more out of that car yet. We're in a good mood together. I'm perfectly fine with not using my mouth today.
Well, Mike, again, I know it's a short race. I've got some strategy calls to make. I just need these two guys to be patiently aggressive.
Did he say patient? This is the Clash. There's no way that's happening, Larry Mack.
Let's have a look at the lineup for the Busch Clash. Ryan Newman, Brad Keselowski, pair of Fords on the front row. Toyota and a Chevy in row 2 with Truex and Larson. Fords in row 3, Boyer and Almirola.
Yeah, in row 4, teammates William Byron and Alex Bowman. Byron making his first Clash start. 5 drivers have won this race in their first start. 4 of them Hall of Famers. In row 5, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, a 3-time Clash winner, looking for his first win, though, with Stewart-Haas Racing.
Elliott and Jones, a Camry and a Camaro. Row 7, Logano and Blaney. Row number 8, 2 Chevys, Dillon and Johnson.
Yeah, and bringing up our final row 9, Kurt Busch and Denny Hamlin, another 3-time Clash winner. He said better for him to be starting from the back. Trust me, this is going to be better for all of us.
Jimmy Johnson has already had one checkered flag today in the Daytona Beach Half Marathon. Running just after dawn all the way over to the world's most famous beach and back. Finished 5th in his age group. There's a look at the course and his average heart rate, 156 beats per minute.
Let's say we dial him up. We might talk about that heart rate a little bit. Hey, JJ, this is Jeff up in the Fox Sports booth. You got me?
Yeah, buddy. Lots clear.
Man, how exciting is this? Get the season started here in the Clash. This is a pretty exciting race. Walk me through kind of your process. You won this race last year and what you anticipate this being like this year.
Yeah, I'm just excited to get our season started. It was a fun off season, but certainly do miss driving this race car. And with it being my final year, excited to be back in the car here in this Clash. This package is a little different with this big spoiler on it. The runs are pretty big. Still trying to learn my Camaro since we have a new body style on the car and exactly where I can place it, what I can do with it. So I think this race will be really useful for the Chevy drivers as they get ready for the 500 next weekend.
We saw that you ran that half marathon this morning and saw a little bit about your heart rate. You're helping us out here at Fox Sports. We're so excited. We're going to be carrying your heart rate monitor live as we go into this race. Right now, you're at 88 beats per minute. You know, we can't wait to watch that. And thank you so much for letting us take our viewers along for the ride with that.
Yeah, it's real cool to do, and I'm glad you championed this thing and kind of got it to happen. Now, the physical load here isn't as much as we see at some tracks, but you'll see my heart rate come up due to anxiety and all the other emotions that can happen during a race. So I look forward to everybody enjoying that.
I think we all will. Plus, you got that visor cam, so it should be exciting. Have a great one. Thank you.
Thank you, bud.
Jimmy Johnson will roll off 16th. Let's get down to pit road, beginning with Matt Yoakum.
Mike, it's a combo platter of opportunity for the 18 team. Now, Kyle Busch wants to see if that speed they saw in the small drafting packs in practice comes back with a much bigger packs here in the race, to see how that relates, but also a great opportunity for the over-the-wall guys. This was the best team on pit road in 2019. No changes. A great chance to shake off the rust, Vince Welsh.
Well, Kurt Busch is a former Clash winner, and he finished second in this event a year ago. He told me before climbing in the car, he likes this event. He really enjoys the fact that it's a who's who, and it's an opportunity to knock the racing rust off before the Daytona 500. They're going to start deliberate. They're going to continue to run at the tail of the field for much of this event, and then it's time to go. He told me, he said, they only pay you to be first on the last lap. Michael Waltrip?
I got to tell you what, Vince, this is amazing, this view up here on top of the roof. There's a triangle that will happen today. The communication from the spotter to the crew chief and the driver, constantly talking and critiquing what's going on, making a plan for that late run that you talked about. I want to tell you, Mike Joy, as I look over to turn 3, I would have cussed my spotter a lot less had I known how little those cars look over there. This is a tough job.
Yes, it is. And the folks who do it up on the roof do it very, very well. Well, we've talked about strategy and analysis. Larry McReynolds.
Yeah, Mike, I know we call it a short race, but it is 75 laps and 187 miles. And you look right there, that we're going to have a caution at lap 25. Pit road speed, 55 miles per hour. And look at that fuel window right there, 38 to 42 laps. When you look at the length of the race, Mike, and the fuel window going along with it, that caution, strategy, I think it's going to be a big player today.
All right, get your calculator warmed up, Larry Mack. Let's have a look at today's Ford Performance Track Facts. Ford has won 2 of the last 3 Clash events here at Daytona. Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski, 2017 and 18 for Team Penske. The lineup for the Clash was determined by a blind draw among the 18 eligible drivers that chose to participate. Up into the 31-degree banking on the east side of the Speedway. And as we get set here in Daytona, it's a 2020 Toyota Camry TRD leading the field.
Can't wait to see what these drivers learned from that practice session yesterday. It was pretty wild, pretty dicey. They're going to get the green, and we're all going to find out here soon.
Into the short chute, 1,200 feet between turn 4 and the tri-oval, where many a race has been won or lost here at Daytona. Pace car makes the hard left. Here they come, 18 of NASCAR's best, ready to roll, and the green flag is out. The Busch Clash is underway. Ryan Newman edges ahead off 2.
Wow, look at Mark Truex Jr. getting a huge run to the outside of Ryan Newman. I think he got such a huge push from behind from Eric Almirola and already received 3 wide further back in the pack. He had nowhere to go with that. He was either going to go through Newman or to the outside of him.
Lap 1 to Roush Fenway Racing and Ryan Newman.
Look who's coming through the middle lane there. Denny Hamlin already has picked off, what, 4 or 5 positions.
Hamlin from 18th up to 11th in number 11.
And watch him just get the runs, get the momentum, and take it wherever he can. When he sees an opportunity, one of the things I like what Denny does on these types of racetracks is he doesn't let it stall out.
Truex could not bring that outside line up even with Newman. Sits back there at 4th place on the outside.
Yeah, well, I tell you, he's not sitting in any place, and that's Denny Hamlin again making another move, gets a good push from his teammate Eric Jones from behind, and goes right to the outside of Ryan Newman. Or sorry.
Hamlin's made it halfway through the field. He's to 10th.
Yeah, and look at how that move all of a sudden slowed the inside lane down and moved and shifted the momentum to that outside lane.
Even Steven for the lead, off 2.
Now you got 5 cars lined up on the inside. Look at all these cars, nose to tail, stacked up on one another, and all that momentum is going to push those first 2 to the lead.
Truex, Keselowski, looking back from Keselowski at Boyer.
Already seeing some good pushes that are happening, but we've seen where some of these bumpers do not line up very well and would easily get some of these cars out of shape.
Look at those speeds, Jeff. 204 in the draft.
Wow. Wow. We knew it was going to be fast based on what we saw yesterday, Mike, but that's even surpassed the fastest speeds we saw yesterday. Kyle Busch decides, I'm abandoning ship here in this inside lane. It's going nowhere. And so does William Byron. He moves right up in front of him, takes that hole.
That'll leave just Newman and Almirola on the inside.
What that does is spells trouble. Those guys are going to probably go all the way back. Maybe they can slide into that one gap that's about 5 or 6 cars back from there. Already your biggest movers. Denny Hamlin up 11 spots. Joey Logano up 8.
Newman found a spot in line that leaves just Almirola on the bottom, and as you said, headed only one way.
Now I heard something I never heard yesterday, and that was somebody lifting. That tells you what this draft is doing right now. That's a big rear spoiler in the back of these cars. Punches a huge hole. Here's Almirola all the way to the back. Now he's got to make sure he doesn't lose the draft. I really believe these cars are punching a big enough hole. He should be able to latch right onto that final car back there.
But he was at an 8-mile-per-hour deficit to that outside lane as they streamed by him.
Well, that's the one downside to this package is when you're in the draft, you can't lose the draft. But when you're the only car that gets shoved out or in that lane, there's a good chance that you're going a long way back and could you lose the draft. Already Martin Truex Jr. taking him to the high line. You know, that high line, it's interesting because usually when they take that high line, it forces those behind that are a little bit content. Right now, you know, if you're second, third, fourth, you're pretty content to be in that top 5. You've got a shot at it. You know that you still have quite a few laps to go. But look at Denny Hamlin, one of those guys, never content. Boy, he almost turned that car around sideways. The unfortunate side here, the gap did not open up for him. He was hoping he was going to drag that 22 Logano back, create an opening, then slide in it. And unfortunately, that did not happen.
It's got a little help there from Byron, but maybe a little too late.
Well, yeah, I think William decided, hey, maybe I can get down there to help Denny Hamlin out, but then that hole went away. Now here's the run. He comes up on the back bumper, tries to side draft. So that car actually was pretty stable. I thought he got loose. He actually just made an evasive move to try to side draft the 22 to pull him back to hopefully open that spot up.
There was only an inch or two between him and Joey Logano when he made that move.
Yeah, but William Byron's got a lot of help down in that lower lane. He's got his, a couple of his teammates right behind him, and Alex Bowman. Also, you've got Chase Elliott further back from that. Now, is this the Chevy brigade starting to work together, show these alliances like we've seen in past races, mainly the Daytona 500s?
Hamlin dropped down again. He's going to have to back up to this group. He had no help, and they're going to sweep around him.
Well, and again, I don't know if the message has been sent from the Chevy camp to help one another, but don't help one of those other guys.
Matt?
And Mike, Joey Logano told me before the race he felt like the Chevys would set the tone because they didn't really know what their game plan was going to be with that new nose. Jim Campbell told me that the gloves are off. People can go with their own agendas because they want to try to learn as much as they can. But right now, they're all paired up. 8
laps complete. Martin Truex, who's never taken a checkered flag, first in the Cup Series here at Daytona. Lead 4-4, Keselowski, Boyer, Harvick, and Logano. It's the Busch Clash at Daytona, chasing the first NASCAR checkered flag of Speedway. New leader in the Busch Clash, Brad Keselowski. The problem with being the leader at Daytona is the leader cleans the track for everyone. And look at the grill of Martin Truex from the lead. He had to drop back because the grill opening got filled up with debris and he started overheating.
Yeah, and he knew that he just had to get back and get behind a car, maybe his teammate like what's in front of him, Denny Hamlin, and hope that as he gets closer to that car, the turbulent air will start to clean that grill off. I didn't see any steam pumping out, so that I think that he's good. I don't think that it ever got so hot that he's going to have an engine failure here.
So now it's 4 Fords at the front.
But the nice thing for Denny Hamlin, now he's got a helper in his teammate Martin Truex Jr.
Larry, that's just one of the perils of being the leader here.
Well, the biggest friend you have from an aerodynamic standpoint at Daytona is tape on that nose. The more tape you have on it, the faster straightaway speed, and it actually helps the grip of the front tires. The downside, if you get any debris, then you run a chance of overheating, but you want to run as much tape as you possibly can.
Well, we're already seeing here Brad Keselowski, who's our new leader. He's already picked up some debris in his grill also.
Now Martin Truex has dropped back to 10th place. Matt.
And his spotter, Clayton Hughes, went to the spotter of Denny Hamlin, and they worked together so they could try to get that debris off the nose. It climbed to 293, but it's coming down now.
All the Chevrolets are at the back and on the inside, having their own intramural race, while the Toyotas and the Fords fight it out up front.
Yeah, 293. I mean, you start getting to 300. That's when you start to get into catastrophic territory. Well, we talked about those Chevrolets, how they started lining up on that inside lane. Now look what you have up front. 4 Fords, 3 Toyotas. I feel like these guys, they're going to control this race for a little bit. A little surprised that that row on the inside, led by William Byron, is not able to get any closer or get to the inside of this row on the outside. Vince?
Well, Clint Boyer running in that second position, working with the same spotter, Brett Griffin, but remember a new crew chief this year. But you can tell that they're always thinking, as Boyer came on the radio and asked who was behind Harvick. That's Harvick right behind Boyer. He wanted to know who was behind Harvick, a couple of drivers to 3 drivers back. Always keeping in mind, if he pulls out to go for the lead, who might be back there to go with him, to help him? What's the scenario behind him where he can't see? And he was thinking and asking, maybe plotting for a move.
And the answer was Joey Logano, followed by Eric Jones. 16 laps complete this time by Keselowski. He's been out in front for 7 of them. Coming around to complete 19 laps in the Busch Clash. We expect a caution. NASCAR has told the drivers this morning at their drivers meeting at lap 25. Should we stay green until then? 7 Chevys on the inside and the back. The 19 of Truex has now dropped back with them. So the field is pretty much split in 2. Everybody wondering why.
Anybody know why they're not running the top behind the draft?
We just got word when it started they were going to go to the back. I think they're just trying to stay out of a mess. They're going to do something different than everybody here at the break.
And I want to bring in Jamie McMurray on this and talk strategy, because it's very clear to me, Jamie, that they're purposefully staying back. Like they're going to play a strategy game here, that they don't want anybody else to be able to know what they're going to do or be able to react to what they may do coming to that caution.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, if the 24 wanted to run down that pack in front, he would not be running on the bottom of the track when they're running the top. So he's kind of keeping that gap, and you can see all the Chevys are lined up together. So clearly they have an agenda, and I know we heard someone say earlier that there were no rules by Chevy, but they have a plan, and we're going to find out what it is here in just a few laps.
We sure are.
Well, Denny Hamlin wasn't part of that plan. He dropped down to make a pass, and now he has lost the lead draft.
Yeah, and Jamie, let's talk about Denny Hamlin too. We saw he made that side draft move going into the corner on the 22 of Joey Logano. Didn't make it work, but he's continued to try to work that. What is he doing there?
Well, he's learning, right? And the one trick that you can do is when you're towards the back of one of these 10 or 12 car single car lines, those guys are having to lift a little bit. And if you can time it out that the car in front of you is lifting on the entry of the corner, when you pull down off of their rear bumper, it will get that car loose. And at the moment that happens, it'll gap the car in front of him, and you hope you can slide up in front of him. I saw him do that a couple of times. It took about 15 laps, it looked like, before the handling of the car started going away, and that's when Denny was able to make that move work. But as I watched him kind of move around in the pack, I think he's just learning right now, trying to figure out what he's going to have at the end.
And I am starting to see some cars lose some handling. We're starting to see that accordion effect where these cars start getting really close to one another, especially in that top lane. I'm seeing some cars get a little bit out of control.
Yeah, you know, every year you come down here and you go out in that first practice and you're like, drive's good, drive's great, and then you get 15 laps into one of these races and it all changes on you. But clearly, when you're in the dirtier air, yeah, I saw a couple of guys get loose off of the exit of turn 4. So hopefully they can make some changes to get the car better. But I mean, Jeff, you know as well as anyone, it's hard to get your car to handle better at a Daytona or Talladega type track.
All right, Larry Mack, going to have the car getting loose off the corner here. Kyle Busch.
Woo, you could see him putting the input into the steering wheel.
Reels it back in.
Off the wall.
So are we going to see pit stops before we see the caution flag?
Well, we heard the conversation on the radio about maybe the Chevrolet team's doing something different. We do know that caution is going to come at lap 25. Now, if you come prior to 25, Mike and Jeff, you still have to make another stop. But what could be a scenario is come at lap 24, get your 4 tires and fuel. You'll stay on the lead lap, stay out at the break, and then when the window opens, headed toward the end of the race, you pit for fuel only. I think we'll see some varying strategies here.
Yeah, and what we've been told by NASCAR is that once every lead lap car goes by the start-finish line, that's when they'll throw the caution. They may be on pit road.
Well, here we are at lap 24.
Well,
and nobody headed for pit road. Eric Jones got way up close to the wall. Watch the 20.
Oh, yeah, you see where the 20 of Eric Jones almost tried to squeeze to the outside of Ryan Blaney. Oh, they make a little bit of contact there. That was almost tragic for both of those two.
So working lap 25.
Now you see the hands out the window. Here they come.
So we may have cars pitting coming to the caution flag, which will wave once the field cycles through the start-finish line.
They have to make it to pit road, though, and go past that green-red light before they throw the caution.
Well, they did the exact opposite of what we all thought. All the Fords and Toyotas are on pit road. Chevy stayed out.
Vince.
The 14 of Clint Boyer, it's going to be 4 tires and gas. He's given no issues, or said that he has no issues. They did make a little bit of a chassis adjustment, though, on the 14 of Boyer, Matt.
And Brad Keselowski is in. He said that he was dragging the back of the car for the first lap, but it wasn't bad after that. Meanwhile, the 11 of Denny Hamlin's away. Chris Gabehart's crew chief told the spotter, let me know if you see him slide the tires on entry. That just opened up his strategy.
8 cars stayed on the racetrack. 10 pitted, and we are under caution, as NASCAR indicated would happen at lap 25 if there was not a caution before then. So Ryan Newman is the leader of the Busch Clash, from William Byron, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, and Austin Dillon. Under caution in the Busch Clash, 27 laps complete. Ryan Newman, the race leader, he and 7 Chevrolets did not choose to pit under the green. Next Sunday during the Daytona 500, Busch Beer pulling off the fastest sweepstakes in NASCAR. Fans will have however long a Kevin Harvick pit stop takes to tweet #Pit4Busch and #sweepstakes for a chance to win a new Busch sports car. So pit road will be open this time. Have one penalty on the cars that stopped before the caution flag. Eric Almirola, his team was over the wall too soon, so he's tail into the line. And we're double checking on who took 2 and who took 4 tires of the cars that stopped under green. We have Keselowski, Hamlin, and Jones taking 2 tires and everyone else getting 4.
I think I kind of like the call. I mean, right there, especially if you're one of those leaders, I thought you had a pretty nice opportunity, knowing the caution is going to come out while you're still on pit road, to take 4 tires. You're not going to go lap down or anything like that. Take your 4 there, and then on this next stop, we were talking to Larry McReynolds about just getting fuel only at that stop.
Because now, if all 8 of these drivers come to pit road, you'll cycle right back to the front.
That's right. And I always want 4 fresh tires, Mike. If I can have them.
So pitting will be Newman's Ford and all 7 Chevrolets. Vince.
Well, the 24 of William Byron is the first pit box. It's going to be 4 tires and gas. They reminded him on the way in, don't pass the pace car. In the box just ahead of him is his teammate, the 88 of Alex Bowman. Bowman a little free in and off, especially up against the wall. They'll make an adjustment, Matt.
They told Ryan Newman that the pack was coming. Newman stayed out, so the car was tight and then getting tighter as the run progressed. Left side tires going on. Gas man signaling that they're full, and he's away.
Now, Joey Logano had been in previously. He came back in for a splash of gas and a little adjustment of the tape on the nose. Pit stops complete. Ready for the final 47 laps of the Busch Clash. Welcome back to Daytona. This is the view from high atop the tower at start finish, where the spotters are perched and where stands Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, Mike, I've caught up with Christopher Bell, rookie season in the Cup Series, along with Stevie Reeves, veteran NASCAR spotter. What have you learned so far, buddy?
It's been a lot of fun just trying to build a relationship with Stevie, and I've had Tony Hirschman spot for me like the last 3 or 4 years, so trying to build that relationship with my new spotter, and yeah, we're about to go green, so I better get back to school.
Man, you could do this announcing thing. Back to green, guys. Take it away.
And that's where we're going. Now, a lap ago, all 7 Chevrolets came in to top off fuel. Eric Almirola came in to serve his penalty, and Ryan Newman also was penalized for too fast entering the pits on his stop. We're back under green.
And remember that guy that started on the back row, Denny Hamlin? Look where he is. All the way at the front.
Keselowski, Hamlin. Now Boyer leading the outside.
Yeah, Keselowski, he knows he's got to block the 11 of Denny Hamlin. He's just so strong. He gets these huge runs. Got to keep him behind me. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold off this run, though. And there he goes to the lead.
Jeff, these cars look a lot more stable than they did in practice yesterday.
They do, but I don't know. Look right there. You saw Brad Keselowski getting the push from the 14 car of Clint Boyer, and I thought that car got a little bit out of control. So I think as this goes on and we see the second half of this race, I think you're going to see some handling become an issue.
And it's a bit of a windy day. Some drivers talking about that, like Jimmy Johnson.
But I feel like the wind is probably the biggest deal because it's pretty inconsistent. Consistently, though, if I'm right center of the car in front of me, I'm in kind of a dead spot there, and I have a low rear grip. But occasionally through 4 with the wind, it'll just pivot real hard, so the other car is going to fight that as well.
Keselowski, Boyer on the outside. And they'll be first to the line this time with Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Blaney.
Yeah, it's so hard because you can't see the wind, right? But when you're inside that car, you feel every gust, every bit of directional change of the wind, and it can make a big difference on how that car handles or what kind of a move or aggressive move you can make.
3 Fords on the outside, and now 4 Toyotas on the inside, and Truex goes upstairs with the 18 of Kyle Busch.
That's why I always like watching Denny Hamlin in these types of races. he's just never content to be riding. He's always trying to make a move. And I mean, it's entertaining certainly to watch, but it's also just the mentality that he has. He has got a lot of confidence in a fast race car. Right now he's got his teammate behind him in Eric Jones, but I think that just allows him to make some moves that really seem to work out for him, and maybe the confidence of those moves working out in the past.
We were on NASCAR Race Hub yesterday, and they asked me, is there anybody today you could compare to Junior Johnson? I said, Denny Hamlin. If he has the car under him, he will find a way to get to the front.
Yeah, no doubt. Clint Bowyer's in a great position right here. In second place behind Brad Keselowski. I mean, I think he's in a great position. He has his teammate Kevin Harvick right behind him. So if this thing comes down to the end and they can stay in that position like that, he's got a great helper and can get a big run to maybe pass for the lead. Jamie?
Yeah, I've been watching Clint, and even early on in the race, he seems to be one of the more aggressive guys pushing. And I watched him with the 2 car. The 2 got a little squirrely in the trial when he started, but Clint gave him a little bit of push in the straightaway, and then the next lap, he actually pushed him all the way into turn 1 and around turn 2. And I feel like he's just kind of testing the waters to not only see how aggressive he can be, but, you know, how in control Brad can stay of his car.
And Jamie, we've talked about how these bumpers line up so good on the Fords. They can push more aggressively than anybody else out there.
Yeah, for sure, with the flattest nose. And, you know, and those guys, they do such a good job of, you know, it's not bump drafting. It's more of kind of easing up to the guy and just barely getting on his bumper and then accelerating. And once you break that, you know, 6-inch barrier between the bumpers, it's almost like you get sucked into them. And then once that happens, you can, you know, throttle down and really, really stay on their bumpers.
Single file at 36 laps from Brad Keselowski on back. Let's have a look at Jimmy Johnson's heart rate on that last restart.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I've been so interested in watching. You see it's at 90 beats per minute. Now he's going up through the gears side by side. You know, you're watching your mirror, not wanting to miss a shift, wanting to get in the right lane, and you can just see how it starts to creep up there. I mean, he went from, what, 90 already, climbing up to 100. So to me, that's what's fascinating about this. It's not necessarily that we're going to see here at Daytona a huge heart rate and your max heart rate, but we're going to see it climb and go up and go down depending on the things and the action that's happening around you.
By the way, his resting heart rate is less than half that, about 39, 40 beats per minute.
Man, that just shows the fitness level that Jimmy Johnson has.
Coming to halfway in the Busch Clash of 2020 with the Fords out front. Mike Nelson and Steve, pan right, pan right. Hey, Thursday Speed Weeks continues with the duel at Daytona, as the starting positions and who's in, who's out are determined for the Daytona 500. 7 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Single file to complete 41 laps, and the strategy is beginning to unfold as deduced by our Purdue graduate engineer, Ryan Newman.
So we're about 4 laps short here. We think the Chevys are trying to go for it. They're saving quite a bit of fuel. Is it mathematically possible? You could save, yeah, I mean, 3 cents a mile per gallon from where we were that first run. I'll give you 3 laps there, see what you say.
So what they know, so they have all the mapping of the fuel flow from that engine. They know from the SMT data that goes to the team's boxes how much throttle position they're actually running. So they can calculate, they can see these other drivers saving fuel. Now what they'll do is they'll let Ryan Newman try to save fuel and see if it's going to make a difference.
So why has Joey Logano just stepped out of line? He is alone on the inside and drifting back.
I'm guessing one of 2 things: debris or he's saving fuel.
May not be the only one. Side by side just ahead of him, Kyle Larson, telemetry.
Well, one thing we can be assured of, our leader Brad Keselowski, and really those 4 behind him that seem to be pulling away, they're not saving fuel right now.
Logano's fallen all the way to the back, and now it's coming forward again on the inside.
Maybe it was just debris.
Little test session here, Vince.
Well, Clint Boyer, you guys talking about the debris. Clint Boyer, one of those, one of many that have expressed their concern about how much debris is on the track. And then Kurt Busch just radioed in and he said the track is really getting greasy and much freer. So between that and the debris, it's making it a little interesting. It's a bit of a handful.
Well, it often happens here at Daytona. The late afternoon sun keeps beating down on this racetrack. But Jeff, you're going 195 miles an hour. How do you save fuel?
Well, and if the track is getting greasy, that makes it easy because that means the cars are sliding around. You're going to lift off the throttle, which isn't going to use as much fuel. But when you're in this line of cars towards the back, you're cutting through the air using the draft. It's pretty easy to run sometimes a quarter of the throttle percentage to just stay into that draft. You don't have to use 100% throttle, of the throttle position.
All right, Larry Mack, I know your calculator's cooking. Can anybody make it without stopping?
Well, let's start with the top 7 right now, which is Fords and Toyota drivers. They pitted with 50 laps to go. I safely say they cannot make it. That's the reason they're up there up front, not saving fuel. But when I look at the Chevrolet camp, all those that came and topped off with 46 to go, if they're saving any fuel at all, no question, that is their plan, is to try to make it, and I think they can.
I think this just goes to show you, these teams, the crew chiefs, engineers, drivers, they look at any possible way that's going to give them the best shot to win a race. Any race, this race included, is important for them to win. If they think strategy is going to be their best shot at winning it, they'll go for it. If it means you drive to the front like Denny Hamlin's been wanting to do, or Brad Keselowski out front, then you do that strategy.
All building your book for the Daytona 500. Up front, maybe a lead change here. Keselowski under fire from the inside. Here come the Toyotas, Kyle Busch and Martin Truex.
Yeah, Kyle Busch has a friend in his teammate Martin Truex Jr. that's willing to go with him. Don't know if maybe the two starting to have some handling issues. Kyle Busch maybe saw that, but he's going to be in a little bit of trouble here, both of those Toyotas, because there's 3 Fords in that outside lane.
5 cars under a blanket off turn 4.
Little debris. Look at that lead car, Brad Keselowski. Oh, here comes the pit stop. Now we know why Kyle Busch went to the inside.
Kyle Busch on pit road with Truex, Hamlin, Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney
and Eric Jones.
You're not going to outsmart me.
Vince.
The 12 of Ryan Blaney, as you guys would anticipate, it's just fuel only, just enough gas to get him to the end, Matt.
And Eric Jones has gone past his pit box. He has to back up. The 11 and the 19 have already serviced their cars as well, losing a lot of time, and their drafting buddies here with the 20.
Oh, close call because his tire changer was already around in front of the car. Here's a look at Eric Jones sliding through.
And this is one of the reasons it's so important to be in this race. I mean, you're not just testing on the track what the car's capable of doing. You're trying to hit your marks into the pit stall to get tuned up for next week. So that might be the end of his race here, but it might be something that helps him in the 500. Vince?
It's really important for the 14. Don't slide the tires because it's gas only. Don't want to do any damage to him getting into the box. Well done by Clint Boyer, Matt.
Quick stops up and down pit road. Everybody going fuel only, easy in and out of their box for the Fords.
5 Fords coming to pit road at lap 47. That leaves the Chevrolets, 5 of them out in front. Byron, Larson, Elliott, Bowman, and Kurt Busch. Then the Ford of Joey Logano and the Chevys of Dillon and Johnson.
The only problem with their strategy now is they don't have the draft working in front of them to save the fuel they were saving. Can they save enough being in this smaller pack to actually make it to the end?
Big crunch of cars entering turn number 3 as everybody jockeys for position after coming off of pit road and back up to speed.
But the strategy certainly worked for the Toyotas by being able to go by the Fords and Brad Keselowski, who was our leader, and now you've got the 3 Toyotas not in the lead yet, but ahead of those guys that they were racing at the time.
Hamlin 9th, Kyle Busch 10th, and Truex 11th. In position to assume the lead if that first group of cars comes to pit road. It'll be 25 laps to go when they come back to the line. Different strategies in play in the Busch Clash of 2020 at Daytona. Drivers hopeful of taking down the first checkered flag of 2020 here in the Busch Clash. Chevy, Toyota, or Ford. Now, William Byron was the race leader as we went to break. He was told you can't save gas out front. You've got to work your way back.
And we talked about it. He was out front leading. There's no way you can save enough fuel there. Let's hear what he said on the radio.
Say on him how much you need him to regulate saving, Chad, because he's out front with no gain. Okay, we're going to have to roll back to mid-pack there a little bit. To the top here. Get it towards the middle to back.
So what are we seeing now with these Chevrolets?
Yeah, so that's Tab Boyd and Chad Knaus talking about it. Now you're starting to see it's almost, these are the guys that think, hey, we can make it on fuel. We've got tires. We're going for the win here if those guys can't make it all the way. But it looks like a little Tour de France action, trying to jockey for position and who wants to cut through the air and who wants to draft for those other guys that are leading.
Vince?
Hey, you know, back to that William Byron radio you guys had, they were hoping that Byron could slot in the 4th position in front of the 88, his teammate Alex Bowman, but they did not get the message to the 88 team quickly enough, so Byron had to go all the way to the back of the line. Kyle Larson didn't want to lead the pack either because that takes up too much fuel, so he went to the back as well.
And you can see the telemetry down there. This is Kyle Larson's telemetry. He's not using full throttle. That's 55-60% throttle right there. So these guys are all working hard to try to save fuel.
And Jeff, look at the stopwatch. This group here is 1.3 seconds a lap faster than the leaders.
Yeah, and they're not saving any fuel. And I got to give Brad Keselowski a lot of credit. Here's full throttle on the telemetry of these drivers. Brad Keselowski was at the back of this pack, and he maneuvered his way through some pretty aggressive driving to get to the front. These guys think they're racing for the win.
Well, look, as I'm watching this, guys, I think that even if the Chevys can't make it, or if they catch the Chevys, they want to be at the front of this pack because they think that's going to be the winner. But this is killing their speed to run side by side like this, and no one is content to ride line. I thought it was just a couple of guys, but it seems like whoever's leading is getting passed right now. So, yeah, these guys think that they're clearly racing for the win, and the Chevy guys, if they get caught, I mean, I don't feel like they're going to be able to run wide open when this pack catches them. So I don't know. I don't think the Chevy strategy is going to work out for them, Jeff. Do you?
Well, I don't know, but I can tell you, as much as these guys are dicing up behind them, there might be a caution that comes out and changes all that strategy.
We're one short on fuel the way you are now, but with a cycling through, it's probably going to be worse.
That's Kurt Busch in the 1 car. This group is 1.3 seconds slower than the Ford Toyota group, with they're 16 seconds back with 19 laps to go. These fellas here are in trouble.
They're hoping these guys are racing a lot behind them, Matt.
Jeff, fuel conversation on the Team Penske radio of Keselowski. They're telling him about the Chevy's plan. Meanwhile, we already heard about the 6 of Newman. He's running 60% throttle, but the 22 of Logano, he asked if they run with the Chevys, if they're going to be able to make it running where he is. They said, no, we're going to be at least a lap or 2 short at this juncture.
I think with that many laps to go, if you can run 50% throttle, which we see Joe Logano's having to run more than that, being that second car in line, I think you can make it. But you know, you can gain that 1 lap. Now that's 2.5 miles. That's a lot of fuel to try to save. The only way you're going to do that is to be at the back of this pack.
You might get there, Jeff, but with the speed that other group is coming, I don't think you're going to get there first.
Well, and they've been listening, right, to their crew chief and their spotter. And look at them now. They're in line. They're gaining in a hurry.
18, now 17 laps to go in the Busch Clash of 2020, and the bold moves are starting to happen.
This year, during the Daytona 500, Busch is pulling off the fastest giveaway of all time.
15 laps to go. The tale of two strategies in Daytona. On your left, look at Joey Logano running 60% throttle at the head of this group that is trying to stretch their fuel mileage. His Penske teammate Brad Keselowski trying to pull that second train right up with the first and take over the lead.
They've been closing 2 seconds a lap. I mean, these guys are saving a lot of fuel, but once these cars get there, they're going to have to go wide open. They're going to have to try to block that run. But look how much faster that group is coming. Not only are they running wide open, but they've got more cars in there. These guys are really just sitting ducks right now.
Matt?
TJ Majors, the spotter for Joey Logano, told Joey that Paul Wolfe said that if he wants to drop to the back of that pack and run with the 9 to try to save some more fuel, he can. And Joey replied, I don't know what I want to do at this point.
I think it's too late for that because now the pack is won. Here comes Keselowski slicing to the bottom and bringing those Fords and Toyotas with him.
Yeah, all you can do is, if you feel like you can run wide open and make it, you got to get down and block this lane, slow down their momentum, which is easier said than done. You see Jimmy Johnson did exactly that. Moved down in front of Brad Keselowski. Now he's going to get the push.
Dillon to the outside of Logano. Logano trying to hold the bottom, and Austin Dillon to the outside and on the gas.
Yeah, but you can see that outside lane is broken up. That inside lane is going to prevail because they're just more organized, except for Clint Boyer that decides to go 3 wide.
Boyer just ahead of Kyle Larson, the black car.
Woo. See Brad Keselowski all over the rear bumper of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. And that sort of broke up that inside lane. Now the outside lane's starting to materialize a little bit better and get more organized. Boy, Brad is he is super aggressive in the pushing that's happening right now.
12 to go. And now it's all about who has enough fuel to finish.
Well, one of my biggest fears would be you've got Joey Logano, Jimmy Johnson, Austin Dillon. We know they're low on fuel. The last thing you want for your Brad Keselowski is for them to run out of fuel right in front of you leading this pack.
Harvick threads the needle 3 wide.
Huge run through the middle, down to the bottom. He'll go back up to the middle, if I had to guess, to get behind Denny Hamlin.
Folks, you're looking at what could be the racing in the finish of the Daytona 500 next Sunday on Fox.
Well, this went from being 2 groups strung out, some trying to run it on a fuel mileage race, to we're 3 wide and it's wild and crazy coming off of turn 4.
Toyota's right up the middle with 10 laps to go.
And now it's just, did those guys save enough? I just don't know if they did. I just don't see how they could have possibly saved enough to make it an extra lap or 2.
Jamie, with the EFI, if these cars run out of fuel pressure, do they cough? Do they just shut off? Do they sputter? What?
Well, most of the cars have a reserve fuel switch in it, so the guys know about a lap ahead of time when it's going to run out, so they'll feel it sputter. Turn that up.
And
sorry, James.
Kyle Busch almost saved it. He collects Logano, and he's in the wall with Keselowski.
Yeah, you saw Joey Logano trying to keep Kyle Busch behind him, tried to block him, and Kyle went to the inside, and I think they made a little bit of contact and around, or which really just ultimately created this mess.
It's the first incident caution of the Busch Clash.
Well, as
takes out 3 of the heavyweights.
And as we talked about, now you don't have to worry about fuel mileage. So here's a big push coming from teammate Denny Hamlin. Kyle's got a huge run, gets right to the rear bumper of Joey Logano, and you can see as he pops out. I mean, I don't know if the air turned Joey a little bit or they made contact first, but around went Joey Logano.
With 9 laps to go, the Busch Clash at Daytona is under caution for this. Well, Kyle Busch's preseason championship trophy there has a bit of a dent in it. That car is being hauled back to the garage, as is Brad Keselowski's.
Well, let's break down this. You see Joey Logano is way out front, and now here comes a huge run from Kyle Busch. And basically Joey just tries to block it, does a great job right there. And here it's just aggressive driving, two guys going for the same spot at 190 miles per hour, and they just made contact. Ends up taking both of them out and Joey Logano's teammate Brad Keselowski. Some guys did a pretty masterful job though, making it through there, like Ryan Blaney and Jimmy Johnson. So you can see, I mean, the 18 of Kyle Busch, he lets off right there to not run in the back of him, but as he goes low, then they make contact. Hard to say if Joey Logano was trying to keep his car a little bit lower there to even continue the block, but they definitely eventually made contact.
This is Brad Keselowski.
As Kyle Busch corrected in the banking to try to save it, had it not caught, Brad was going to go right on by on the outside. Here's Brad's reaction. Not too happy about that. He had a great car up front, had a shot at this.
Led by far the most laps, 33 out of 68 so far.
Been a rough start to Speed Weeks for Brad Keselowski.
So the field comes by under caution. Denny Hamlin the leader, Eric Almirola, Martin Truex. Kyle Busch audio.
What'd you think there, spotter? Looked like Joey blocked us 6 different times in one move. You can only block one time. You want to take the top, take the top. We got to the middle there and he hacked us again, so.
Yeah, and Jamie, I'm curious to get your opinion on me. It looked to me like, you know, when you have that big of a run, yeah, you got one, maybe two moves to block it, and after that, you know that it's going to get really, really dicey, and that potentially could happen.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on which team you're on as your viewpoint of that. But Joey clearly blocked him in turn 3 and then blocked him kind of in the middle of 3 and 4. And the one factor that we don't know here, I mean, you can see their hands and we can kind of tell based on the lines of the track of what they're doing. But I heard you say earlier, I think the air started to turn Joey's car, and then Kyle was being a little aggressive. I mean, I don't really place blame on anyone. Joey was aggressive, but we know that, and Kyle knows that going in. But I mean, I kind of just chalk that up to a racing deal at the end.
Yeah, they're both really aggressive.
All right, let's join Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, Kyle Busch is walking my way. Kyle, blocking is part of this deal, and sometimes blocks go wrong. What'd you see happen?
Yep.
I said it correctly.
That's right. So
I'm new at this pit reporting things, but we're going to take a look at it, and it just looked like that you can throw one block, but 2 or 3 is too many.
yeah, that was one right there, and then I finally was able to get my car to turn right there, and then was going to start getting back to his inside. I didn't know how much room I had, and my car loosened up his car first, and then it just started turning him down the hill, and we all collided. But yeah, that's just part of it, I guess, racing for the lead.
What I wonder is you're racing so much, and then single file, and then it's crazy.
That's why we stay single file, is so we don't do crazy, because we don't know how to do it. So, you know, I thought our M&M's Camry was driving really good, and I felt confident in being able to make that move because I hadn't had my car out of shape at all the whole race long, you know, and we were good to go on fuel. I don't know what everybody else's fuel situation was, the guys saving, but I don't know that they were going to make it. But we had a head of steam coming, and when we got there, man, we just had to slow down like 2 seconds a lap. So it's like, I know we're faster than these guys. We can drive up through here, and we made good headway through the middle there, and then just closed up.
Yeah. Vince, what's happening?
Well, you see the action on pit road. Teams coming to get gas if they didn't feel like they had enough to get there. Also taking the opportunity to get 4 fresh tires. We'll see if it pays off in these final 5. Mike.
9 cars chose to come to pit road. Looks like Jimmy Johnson did get into the back of one of those cars, but is able to continue as is Joey Logano after significant repair.
Well, let's see what Jimmy Johnson's heart rate does when there's a crash happening right in front of him. He's trying to avoid it. He's at 109. Right here, he's checking up. Nothing but smoke trying to avoid this. Boy, I would have thought that thing would have spiked up even more. That guy's just cold as ice. That's why he's a 7-time champion. He goes up, what, 3 or 4 beats per minute.
So under caution with 5 to go. Repairs continue on Jimmy Johnson and Joey Logano as we look to get the Busch Clash back underway.
And we got a much better chance pointing there from where we're at than if we pit. So if not, you can pick me up at the Infield Care Center in about 5 minutes. I mean, I'll be there if I need to be, but I don't plan on needing to be. Too pretty of a day for that. Let's not waste time in there.
Chris Gabart, the crew chief, would rather walk to victory lane than the care center. Oh! Ryan Newman came down, and everybody behind piles up.
I saw a lot of rear tire spin on that restart. I think a lot of guys were struggling with grip, and they just started losing control.
Drivers made it out in front unscathed. Hamlin, Almirola, and Blaney. So you're going to watch Ryan Newman on this replay as we try to figure out what happened. He's the second car on the outside.
Maybe it could have been contact. Could have been contact from the 24 and that nose on that Camaro of William Byron as he gets to the rear bumper of Ryan Newman.
And it looked like he had been hit by the 4 of Kevin Harvick, which may have sent him into Newman.
He was already, you could see William Byron was already out of shape as Kevin Harvick made contact with the 24. It wasn't much. It's interesting how he touches the 6, he starts spinning the wheels, losing control. Then the 24 starts losing control and gets hit. I don't even know if he got hit. I think he just lost it.
Spun the tires?
Yeah, I think when he made a little contact with the 6, then he jumped in the gas and started losing the rear grip and spinning the rear tires. Certainly no wheel spin there on Jimmy Johnson. He had plenty of grip. Unfortunately, yeah, he didn't make too much contact. He might be all right.
Yeah, Byron's 24 just slews sideways, but so did the 6 of Newman.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out. How much contact was there between those two to cause both of those cars to start losing grip in the rear tires?
And guys, the strangest thing about that is we don't typically see that at Daytona, but it just looks like it's all the outside lane. We heard Jimmy accelerate, no wheel spin at all, but Ryan and William Byron, like, it's crazy the amount of wheel spin that those guys had. It just seems like it's in the outside lane.
Track crew out looking at the tri-oval surface as 9 cars are under repair on pit road.
Well, and the only other thing I would say is the further back you are, you're still in less banking that might cause those rear tires to spin, where those guys up there in the first 2 rows, a lot easier. You're on the higher banking, so when you go to accelerate, there's less load on those tires that's going to grip them.
It should be obvious, but we're going to overtime.
I had a pretty strong feeling we were going to do that anyway. I just didn't think it was going to be before we got to the start-finish line on the restart.
No kidding. Kyle Larson pulls away. Still only 2 cars out of the race, and that's Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski from the previous incident. And now Martin Truex. Wow. Big pileup at Daytona, but the Busch Clash not yet over. It's a brand new season, and it starts with the biggest race, the Daytona 500, pre-race 1 o'clock. And the race next Sunday, 2:30 on Fox. William Byron has gone to the garage. He will not hoist the Busch Clash trophy today. He will join Martin Truex, Brad Keselowski, and Kyle Busch. Truex involved in that incident, making the mandatory trip to the Advent Care Center. Well, we were worried about if they'd had enough fuel. Now we're concerned, will they have enough fenders to get to the finish? So Ryan Newman was the second car on the outside on that restart. He and William Byron both having difficulties getting going there. Here's Newman's radio.
There had to be oil on the track there or something, because you and a couple of the cars behind you, everybody just kind of went sideways.
The only way you could do that 20 years ago is if you had an open rear end. Like, no question, but I don't know. Like, maybe the power is just better. I don't know. I wasn't ready for it, I can tell you that.
And he brings up a very good point about the power. We've got 100 more horsepower this year at Daytona than we had a year ago. So there's no doubt that will easily put more power to those rear tires and make it harder to accelerate. But like we were on board with Jimmy Johnson, his car just launched and took off. So not sure what was going on with those guys a little bit further up.
All right, so our stat and graphics gurus have come up with a new one for you. Drivers not involved in a wreck today.
Well, I don't know if that's a new one in the Clash, though. I mean, we saw last year there was a ton of cars in that big wreck that we had in the closing laps there also.
Well, yeah, they call it the Clash. It's not the drive around and be nice to each other.
No.
Never was. I don't know about putting the Jones boy on that list. I think he was,
involved.
Tied up in the early one.
He's involved, but he's still going. He still has a shot at it. Just because you're involved doesn't mean you don't still have a shot to win. I think Eric Almirola may have about one of the cleanest cars out there.
Let's have a look at the highlights or lowlights, depending on which side you're on, of the Busch Clash so far. Feeling things out, Denny Hamlin, an aggressive move from behind Joey Logano, but he didn't have a lot of friends. Martin Truex was leading the race, but picked up debris on the grill that he had to dispose of by dropping to the back and getting back in line, getting a little negative pressure there. The lead pack pitted when we thought the second pack would, just before the mandatory caution at lap 25. And Eric Jones slides through the pit box. Close call. Joey Logano, Kyle Busch together again.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot. That's a feud that has been there for a couple of years now. It just may have gone up another notch.
Brad Keselowski collected and out of the race in that one, along with Kyle. You don't expect the big one under caution, but here we are coming to the restart. First, Ryan Newman and William Byron both get sideways.
And still not sure if they made contact, if William Byron made contact. If he did, it was ever so slight. But those cars just started spinning the tires as if maybe there was some oil or debris on the track at that point.
Hamlin and Almirola were the only ones to get away without contact. So now we come to overtime, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Green-white checker. If the leader takes the white flag under green, the next flag, be it yellow or checker, will end the race. Green flag, 2 to go.
Everybody away clean that time.
Chase Elliott with a push on Denny Hamlin on the outside. Almirola has a little help from Blaney.
Big push coming from Chase Elliott to the rear bumper. Denny Hamlin. Almost turns Denny Hamlin.
Almost turned him again.
Man, this is wild back here in the back straightaway. Got Boyer giving a big,
Hamlin
goes around. I bet that fender caused that right rear tire to go down. Logano in it again. This one's going to take the 48 of Jimmy Johnson out this time. Well, we got one, maybe two cars that just crossed the line that might be left in this race. Wow.
2.5, and about 3 more coming. Oh my. Back straight away.
Huge push come from Clint Boyer and Joey Logano to the rear bumper of Chase Elliott. Sends the 11, Denny Hamlin, into turn 3. Watch this car just go around. You know that that's a tire that went down. Had to be.
Hamlin has said on the radio he lost the right rear.
Well, and he was afraid of that. That's what that conversation between him and his crew chief, Chris Gabehart. They're worried about that tire rub.
Here's Hamlin's radio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I felt this turn lane too. I tried to hold on. No chance. Oh, I seen it. You did a hell of a job. More darn ball you did, man.
Well, they'll meet up as the care center, as Denny prophetically said a bit earlier. Jeff, there's another big consequence to this, is that these cars are the secondary backups for the Daytona 500 for many, well, they were, for many of these teams.
Well, it just puts more pressure on all these teams and drivers, especially when they go into the duels on Thursday. You're just not going to be, you don't want to ever give up that primary car, especially the Daytona 500 car, but it just kind of starts limiting down your options as you go into the week and in practice too. And look here, look at that heart rate monitor now of Jimmy Johnson, all the way up to 130. That's the highest we've seen it go in this race so far.
Pace car comes by with 6 cars in tow. Up in Connecticut, where Logano's from, there's a lot of snow plows mounted on trucks this time of year, and down here there's
sod plow,
turf plow, yeah, turf plows.
Oh man.
However, that's in their pit box. They've not given up on finishing this race.
Never say never. That car's not going to be too sporty if they do get it back out there.
Harvick's car looks like it's been to the beer can recycling center.
And I spoke too soon. Sorry, Eric Almirola. Yeah, you had a car that probably had no damage leading into that restart, but now looks like it's done.
Now, Eric Jones had damage earlier. He was also involved in this one. That's what pushed the nose way back on his Camry. And Ryan Newman is backing up toward the garage area. Or excuse me, Ryan Blaney. I don't think he'll be able to get in there because that's where the wreckers are working with Almirola's car and Harvick's. God, it's the rollback reunion over there. We're going to take a break and sort this out as Denny Hamlin goes around in front of the field on overtime. That is Kevin Harvick's car being towed through the garage area to go back on the truck, and Jimmy Johnson. And so where are all these drivers? They're all gathered with Michael Waltrip at the Advent Health Care Center.
Yeah, 2 of them at least are. Martin, you said you gunned your car and it's stuck. And William, you were back in the 3rd row and yours slid sideways. What happened in that wreck? It was crazy looking.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I was just trying to get going, trying to get the 10 going there on the bottom, and got a good jump there, and then just got hit in the right rear turning the fence. So not sure what happened. Sucks. I mean, yeah. Super speedways are not good to me.
Oh, but there's the big one coming up next Sunday. I bet you it'll be good to you.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Been so close before. William, have you ever felt anything like that trying to get going?
No, I mean, obviously I gunned it, you know, like you normally would on a speedway. You don't normally spin the tires that bad, you know. If anything, you spin them a little bit, but it just swapped ends like immediately. So I don't know, obviously, you know, pretty dumb to spin the tires like that. I don't know if there was something on the track or what, but it was not the best moment. So just got to regroup for next Sunday.
Well, the Liberty U car looked good, and if you were dumb, there were others that were too, because a lot of people had issues on that start.
Yeah, the 6 was spinning the tires too, and then I don't know what happened. I'll have to look at it. So.
All right, thanks, William.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Now we are under the red flag. Cars are parked on the backstretch, including Chase Elliott, the leader. Vince.
Well, they're concerned because Chase got into the wall with that right rear, and they've had a couple of drivers tell him that they think that right rear is into the tire, but they're not sure how much. Chase says it's definitely gone down, so they're trying to determine. You see Alan Gustafson there, the crew chief on the left-hand side. How significant is it, and do they need to come in, get the tire changed? Still, there's only 4 other cars out there to beat once they do that, but trying to get a game plan together.
5 on track, 3 on pit road under repair, and
that looks low to me, Mike. I mean, and he's got the damage there. We just saw what happened to Denny Hamlin, but that looks to me at the very bottom like it's flat. Remember, these tires have interliners, so it's not just going to go all the way down to the wheel.
All right, back down to Michael.
Race car.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, Alex, it's nice to see you. I'm glad you're okay after that crash. What'd you see?
I had 24, didn't go or spun his tires or something, and I checked up, and the guy behind me decided not to check up and just kind of killed the right front, and at a certain point it's just a clash. We worked on it just to get some reps, but didn't want to kill ourselves to make it better. So unfortunate for our Valvoline Camaro. I think overall we had a good day, obviously, with qualifying on the front row for the 500, but bummed out, man. I wanted to go back racing, and I feel like we rode around and then we crashed. So.
What's it like to be on the front row for the Daytona 500? That's got to be the best feeling in the whole world.
Yeah, it's really special. There's a little bit of anxiety that comes along with it, for the duels and not wanting to tear your stuff up. But 5 years ago, I think, I came down here and I missed the 500. 2 years later, I was down here with Hendrick Motorsports on the pole, and every year since then, we've been on the front row. So it's just a dream come true to be driving for Rick Hendrick and have Hendrick horsepower under the hoods. And man, our car was really fast today again, just wrong place at the wrong time.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you.
Let's dial that guy in right there. Clint Boyer, a little damage on the left rear, but let's talk to him. Hey, Clint, this is Jeff up in the booth. You got me, buddy? Yeah, don't start with me now. Start talking about the Super Bowl. Hey, man, tell me about this race, man. This has been a wild one. You got a little left rear damage, but you still, you're one of the survivors left. What do you think? You still got a shot?
Well, you got to survive. I got some damage. I don't know, man. I guess either the 22 got in the back of me a little bit, or the 9 just, diverting to miss the 11, took the air off me. I was thinking something was on the track because the 9 shot out hit the wall, and I kind of lost it and got into the fence and got it gathered back up before everybody come in and wreck. But pretty wild deal. You knew it's going to be the Clash. No points on the line. Nothing but prestige of winning. Hell, go for it, right?
Heck yeah, man. That's why you're there. That's what the Clash is all about. And I'll give you a little survey. I'm looking at your right rear spoiler right now. The outer edge of it on the right side's bent back. That baby's going to be good on the straightaways. I don't know what it's going to do when you get to the corner, though.
I actually saw that, thought the same thing. It's funny how drivers always looking for competitive advantage. However, every other corner, this thing's narrowed up too. So I agree. It'll go down the straightaway fast. Dart without feathers may be the pace when you get to the end of the straightaway.
So you're saying it's not going to be a whole lot different than when it's all one piece.
It's been fun, man. It's fun to get the year started off. Hopefully, what is there, 5 of us left?
If you're lucky. If you're lucky. But, hey, I know the 5 of you are still going to put on a heck of a show, man. Thanks for talking to us.
All right, boys. Let's do it.
All right, Clint Boyer, one of the 5 cars sitting on the backstretch that include Chase Elliott, Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, and Ryan Newman. Michael's been a busy boy down the care center.
Yeah, I'm talking with Eric Almirola, and I got some good news for you. I know it's a tough time right now.
What good news could you possibly?
You might have finished 6. I think there's only 5 of them left.
Yeah, man, what a shame. We had a really fast pure farmland Ford Mustang. All the Fords were really fast. Doug Yates always brings good horsepower every week, but he loves Daytona, and it was shining today. It's going to be a shame if a Ford doesn't win this thing, because I feel like we pretty much dominated the race. So, but all in all, it was a good day for us. I know it's not the finish we wanted, but it was productive. New team, new crew chief, working through a lot of the, the new things that you have to work with a crew chief, the communication, all those things. So it was a good day. It was productive. We were up front. We were challenging for the win, and just didn't work out. But the most important one's a week from today.
It sure is. Tell all your friends you got a top 10 at Daytona. That's pretty impressive.
Eric Almirola currently is scored 10th. Now, even though these 3 cars on pit road are heavily damaged, They are still hopeful of a finish. Blaney's gone to the garage, so he will be 9th with Almirola 10th. And these are going to be top 8 cars. Now, yesterday in the ARCA race, the Lucas Oil 200, there was one driver I noticed that had difficulty keeping up on the restart, staying with the pack, and they tweeted, hey, we came down here on an open trailer, you know, had a flat tire on the pit box, flat tire on the car, and we still finished top 15. What a great day.
But there was how many cars left?
Somewhere less than 15. But that's okay.
That's how it's going to be today with the top 5, I believe.
Larry?
Yeah, special race, special rules. You can work on your car under the red flag as long as you are in your pit box. It can't be outside the pit box. And the damaged vehicle policy clock, 6 minutes, does not exist in this race. So that's why they were able to take their time and work on like the 11 car of Denny Hamlin and 20 car of Eric Jones.
6 minutes, 6 days might be appropriate.
That's NASCAR force seeing what they were about to see in this race.
All right, back to Michael.
I've caught up with Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy, you were down on the bottom up front and got hooked. That's never good at Daytona.
No, it isn't. I was still wide open in the gas, so when I got hooked, I had really no time to get to the brake or anything. Tagged the wall pretty good. So it was a good thump. There's no doubt about it. But we learned a lot today about our race car, and I think we're going to have to go in a little different direction for stability with our car. Those Fords and Toyotas be very offensive, can use their bumpers a lot to kind of create opportunity, and we need to get our cars up under us a little better where we can drive them.
So you said offensive, not offensive.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, understand. Your heart rate normally is 39-ish?
Resting, yeah.
And it went up to 130 in that wreck, almost 90 beats more than normal. Tells you how tense things are out there behind the wheel of one of these cars.
Yeah, this track isn't the most physically challenging track, but the adrenaline side, and certainly knowing you're going to thump the wall like that, I guess that was an adrenaline spike that everyone saw. If I have the heart rate monitor on, we can do it at Bristol. It'd be really interesting to show just how physical that track is. Probably 150, 160 most of the race of that racetrack.
Well, we really appreciate you wearing that thing and showing the folks at home how hard it is to drive one of these cars. And like you said, I can't wait to Bristol. Mike?
Thanks, Michael. Chase Elliott and Clint Boyer have come to pit road. Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin have left pit road. Now on overtime, these caution laps, let's see, they're showing Logano and Hamlin both 2 laps down. Everyone else, 6 cars on the lead lap. There's the repair. Chase Elliott.
Yeah, I guess, you know, when Denny went around, he just tried to avoid him and went wide and just could not avoid scraping the wall on the outside, which caused a little bit of this damage and eventually the right rear tire going down. But now he's got 4 fresh ones on. The car looks like it's in good shape.
So 6 lead lap cars will line up for this restart. With Elliott's pit stop, Austin Dillon assumes the lead. Kyle Larson will be on the front row with him. Newman and Jones, Elliott and Boyer. Well, it's been an eventful Busch Clash, that's for sure. Kyle Busch and Joey Logano together again with Brad Keselowski. William Byron and Ryan Newman breaking traction on the restart. And then this.
And Mike, anytime you have somebody up in front of the pack lose control, you're going to take a lot of cars out. And we've had 2 of those happen at speed here today.
Here's Austin Dillon's radio.
Clear the 42. We could work together. Get the best cars left. Temple, talk to him.
Well,
Coming
that
down for the
42 is
restart.
in the outside lane. He's on the inside lane. I don't see anybody working together right here in these closing laps. They're going to all get out there and try to win it, but that 3 car looks like it's in pretty good shape.
I see Chase Elliott giving Kyle Larson a big push. Here we go. Green-white checker, overtime again.
I really don't think Chase Elliott's counting himself out of this at all, even though he had to come in, lose some track position. Now we saw on that last restart, if you can get locked into the rear bumper of that car in front of you, you can really get them shoved out there and get a big run. That outside lane is materializing pretty good. Big run. Chase Elliott, trying to get to the outside of the 42 is Kyle Larson.
Whoa, down to the bottom, and they touch.
Oh, another wreck. Goodness gracious.
Now look at Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin is 2 laps down. Don't tell me he can't win it.
Yeah, I think he just got one of them back.
And we did not get to the white flag under green, so we'll rack them, stack them, and try it again.
Holy cow. Skip Boyer back on the radio telling me he's still got a shot. Oh, man. So here we go down the back straightaway. You see the 9 of Chase Elliott all over the rear bumper of Kyle Larson. He tries to squeeze to the outside of him, but Larson does a good job blocking him. Now Larson realizes he's going to go to the inside. This is almost similar to what happened between Joey Logano and Kyle Busch earlier. He tried to go to the inside. They just make contact, and they both go around. Wild there. You could tell Kyle Larson, he knew exactly what Chase Elliott was going to do. He knew he was going to try to go the inside, and he tried to anticipate that block, and then they just both made contact.
Chase Elliott's radio.
Yep. Sorry about that. Sorry for what? Doing it, man. It's good.
Alan Gustafson, his crew chief, cheering on Chase Elliott. Say, man, you were going for the win.
So we started the race with 7 onboard Fox cameras. We have this one left.
I didn't think we were going to have this one left after that crash. How in the world is this car still going forward in one piece? After just getting in a pretty heavy wreck, it looks pretty good.
Chase hands off his helmet to one of the emergency responders, and we'll climb out. Denny Hamlin got the free pass.
Only one more to go.
Well, this is now the longest Busch Clash ever at 84 laps, and we still have another green-white checker to go. Michael?
Yeah, Mike, you've got cars on the track, a few, I know, but this garage area is incredible. Look at Chase's car. This is the process that they go through. I know. I'm telling a story.
Tell him, Michael.
Story.
Tell him, Michael.
Don't yell at me. Chase Elliott's responsibility is to get in the medical truck and go to the Advent Health Care Center. That's where he's going. You can see how tore up this car is. But more importantly, look at all the cars in this garage area. These things were $250,000 pristine machines when today started, and just car after car are torn up. You can see there's Alex Bowman's, there's Jimmy Johnson's, William Byron. It's an expensive day for Hendrick Motorsports for sure. And you can see not only are these cars torn up, there's Kurt Busch's. And think about this, guys. All these teams have to rip these cars apart, get them where they can get them on a trailer, and then get them back to North Carolina. Jeff, you talked about earlier where these guys, this could be their Daytona 500 backup cars. Well, there's a serious new plan in place. This has been crazy. Ever seen anything like it?
Never ever.
Never ever.
Daytona, right?
Yeah, that's true. How you doing?
Hey, good, yourself?
Have fun.
Michael,
yes.
the next time we send you to the garage, we're going to put a heart rate monitor on you.
Can you borrow Jimmy Johnson's? I'd love to see where your heart rate is at right now.
I was a long way away from here, and I knew they were going to have big crashes, and I wanted to be at the healthcare center, but the story more now is about these teams that have to regroup and get ready for next week.
Good job there, buddy, getting over there and telling that story. But, man, that's just absolute carnage down there in the garage area.
It's a mess.
Well, Michael's a veteran marathoner.
Absolutely. He can run,
He's
and
done
he did.
He's done his running today. I believe what happened there, the little confrontation, was NASCAR trying to explain to Michael, no, he couldn't interview Chase. Chase has to go to the care center. But Michael knew that. NHRA drag racing is back. It's the Winter Nationals from Pomona, California. And final eliminations are coming up next right here on FS1.
Don't they have 4 wide drag racing? Because I feel like that's what we're about to have here in this clash.
In Charlotte,
we have 4 cars left.
Yeah, in Charlotte they do.
Oh, Denny Hamlin's still
Denny
there.
Hamlin is still in it. You sure he didn't get another lucky dog on that last caution flag? Oh, no, he was in that one.
He's still in it, but he's still one lap down, right?
Plenty of time.
I say it's the clash. Just put Denny back on the lead lap. Oh, who do I like? You know what? Austin Dillon, he's just all day been able to avoid all these incidences. I mean, how is his car that clean? Because everybody else has a ton of damage.
That's the only one that's undamaged. Here's his radio.
Are a bit outnumbered at the current moment. I think we can still do it.
I say we got the cleanest car.
Sir, we do.
We started with 4 Toyotas, 7 Chevys, and 7 Fords. We now have 2 Chevys, 2 Fords, and 1 Toyota. Watch the 3-car here.
But, he did a great job getting on the brakes, slowing that car down, not locking up any tires, and being able to avoid that crash.
They have a new brake package on that car here for Daytona this year, and he was very quick to congratulate the team, saying that's the only way he missed that wreck.
Well, and I like that direction because not only does it help you avoid wrecks like we just saw there, but it helps you get on to pit road and drive a little bit deeper, get on to pit road a little bit faster and better than some of your competitors.
New crew chief, Justin Alexander. You saw his grandfather, Richard Childress, who owns that team, trying to put the 3 back in victory lane at Daytona once again. He'll have to battle Ryan Newman to do it. Clint Boyer, Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson. Hamlin 1 lap down, everybody else on the lead lap. Let's try it again. Green, white, checker.
Tremendous push from Clint Boyer to get Austin Dillon out front cleanly. Now he's got control. Now all he has to do is watch what kind of run comes from behind. Can he put a block without causing a huge wreck? Look at Newman with the crossover move. That was a fantastic move by Ryan Newman. Big run coming to the outside by Eric Jones.
You can't block 3 lanes.
No, he's getting a huge push from Kyle Larson. Now Larson to the inside.
Jones's car is damaged, and Larson slips ahead. If they take the white flag under green, oh please, then the next flag will end the race.
3 wide.
Look at the speed Jones has with that car all bent up, and it's Newman at the white flag.
That was incredible. I mean, how did Larson pass all those cars and now fall all the way back to the end?
Last lap.
Denny Hamlin, big push to his teammate Eric Jones.
Do you want to lead here, or do you want to be second?
Well, all day long, I didn't want to be in the field as much as they were wrecking. But I really think, look at this run coming from Eric Jones.
3 wide.
3 to the inside, 3 wide.
Jones with the most damaged car in the race. He's in the front.
Now, can Denny Hamlin...
Dillon slipped up high.
Is Denny Hamlin going to make a move on him and still try to win this race? Doesn't look like it. He's going to push his teammate to the win.
Eric Jones is going to win the Busch Clash with a car that's ready for the dumpster.
I just think Denny could have pulled out maybe a few feet sooner. Oh, that's right. He's down lap. So he's helping his teammate win this race. Didn't have a shot at the win.
Unbelievable.
That's some teamwork. Boy, it's good to have a teammate out there that can help you out in that situation.
Ryan Newman got some damage. His car was smoking. He fell off pace. Austin Dillon slipped way up high in turn number 4. And the gates were open for Denny Hamlin to push Eric Jones to victory.
That was a crazy race.
Coach Gibbs will go to victory lane for the 9th time in the Clash, more than any other car owner in the event's history.
Man, I don't even know how that hood stayed in place.
So Eric Jones with a little help from Denny Hamlin. All right, so Newman leading. Here comes the big push on the outside.
Well, and I'm a little surprised. You know, Newman got a little bit caught up in the 3 car of Austin Dillon and was trying to block him. And that huge run, you know, that's the spotter's choice or really their responsibility to let you know when a big run like that is coming. I just wonder if Newman could have blocked it.
Newman may have been blowing up.
You might be right. Yeah, I see some smoke there. Denny pulled to the outside to say, if I was on the lead lap, I think I could have gotten you.
Busch Clash or Busch Crash? Take it as you will.
That's a way to start the season for Eric Jones.
Third clash start for Jones, whose first Cup win came here in 2018.
You want to know why those teams work so hard on pit road, if it's under red, to try to make those repairs? This is why, because you still got to finish this race with the checkered flag waving.
Left side looks fine.
Yeah, it looks like a brand new car.
Byron, Michigan's Eric Jones, one of that new generation of NASCAR stars, is going to get the first NASCAR checkered flag of this speed week. Here's Matt.
Well, the nose looks more like it had a bad night at Kalamazoo Speedway. How would you even describe this day?
Well, it's not one I would have thought we'd won. It was an awesome race. I got to give a huge thanks to Denny there in the 11. He stuck with us there that whole last lap, and this thing wasn't the fastest car, I don't think, left in the race, but, you know, we brought it home, so I owe him one for that one for sure. Really cool, though. I mean, Busch Clash, first year back to win that. That feels good. And with Sport Clips, again, these guys have been really loyal to me the last few years, so it's cool to get them another win, and, you know, hopefully next Sunday we cap off another one right here.
That restarted the one before. Could you even have a game plan with so few cars left?
Well, you know, I was hoping I could get pushing the 6 and get up front, and then hopefully, you know, the Denny was going to help us, and that didn't exactly work out. Everybody was slicing with that few cars, and he just locked on, and we stuck together. I think, honestly, my car was so draggy, it wasn't too much for him to stay connected, and he was able to push us home. So feels good. You know, started off with a win. It's a really cool race, you know, one that I grew up watching, and have it back with its original namesake feels pretty good.
Just checking off boxes. A firecracker, now a Busch Clash here at Daytona, Vince.
And his teammate, Denny Hamlin, that pushed him to victory lane. I know it's not a win, but you seem pretty darn happy, like you were, like you did something today.
Yeah, so awesome. I mean, I knew he needed to strap in because that last lap I was going to push him. I didn't care if I was going to push him into a wreck. I was just going to push him. It was fun. I mean, my car was so fast. Proud of the effort there. Glad we got a good team win. I mean, that's all I could really do at the end is push him to victory. So
I want to take a look at this car too. And how did it feel to drive? I mean, that couldn't have been very drivable at those speeds.
I had 8 wheels. I had 4 in front of me. I had 4 on me. So I mean, when we linked up, it was fast. I mean, it was unbelievable. You know, the thing is, I had his damaged race car to cover up all the damage to mine, so it just worked. But it's another fast Camry. There's 2 fast Camrys on that last lap there. So happy with the whole FedEx team for not quitting there and trying to get the race finished and got us a team win.
Hey, we talk about what do you learn in this race. So before all of the carnage, what did you learn?
We can go to the front. I mean, our cars are super fast. You know, it just, I think that, you know, everyone's got to realize that these late blocks just don't work. I mean, not with this package. I think the way that you used to drive super speedway races where you had time to really see the runs coming, it just doesn't work, and it causes for carnage like you see. I mean, it's great for TV, but if you don't want to finish, then you continue to do the same thing over and over.
Thanks, Denny.
The tandem of Eric Jones and Denny Hamlin result in victory lane in the Busch Clash of 2020. More after this.